Stop lying to yourself about time. Stop pretending that a new year magically resets discipline, focus, or character. 2026 is not a clean slate waiting for you to feel inspired. It is a deadline approaching with absolute indifference to your excuses. Time does not care about your intentions. Time only records your actions, and when the year turns, it will expose exactly who you were willing to become and who you kept delaying. Most people treat years like permission slips. They say next year I'll lock in, next year I'll get serious, next year I'll change. That mindset is how decades disappear. A deadline changes everything because it removes the illusion of endless chances. A deadline forces urgency. A deadline forces honesty. A deadline makes you confront the uncomfortable truth that if you don't move now, you won't suddenly transform later. 2026 is not here to motivate you. It is here to measure you. Think about how many times you've told yourself you had time. Time to fix your habits. Time to build your body. Time to change your finances. Time to discipline your mind. That belief has cost you more than any failure ever could. Because believing you have time makes you slow, and slowness in a fast world is the same as quitting. By the time most people realize time is not on their side, it's already too late to recover the lost ground. A fresh start mentality is comfortable. It feels hopeful. It allows you to delay responsibility without guilt. A deadline mentality is uncomfortable. It demands action now, not later. It forces you to look at your daily behavior and ask whether it matches the future you claim you want. And most people avoid that question because they already know the answer. 2026 will not ask you what you plan to do. It will show you what you did. It will reflect your routines back at you without emotion. If you trained, it will show. If you worked, it will show. If you wasted time, it will show. There is no negotiation with outcomes. There is no explanation that convinces reality to change its verdict. When you understand that 2026 is a deadline, your priorities shift immediately. You stop wasting energy on distractions that don't move your life forward. You stop tolerating habits that weaken you. You stop entertaining people, content, and routines that drain your focus. A deadline sharpens the mind. It cuts through noise. It exposes what matters and what doesn't. Most people want transformation without urgency. They want change without pressure. But pressure is what creates diamonds. Without pressure, there is no reason to push past comfort, and comfort is the enemy of transformation. If you are comfortable right now, that is not a sign you're doing well. It's a warning that you're not demanding enough from yourself. A deadline forces you to choose who you are willing to disappoint. Either you disappoint your future by staying the same, or you disappoint your present comfort by changing. You cannot satisfy both. 2026 will reward the people who were willing to be uncomfortable early, not the ones who waited for the perfect moment. This year is not asking you to be perfect. It's asking you to be decisive, to stop drifting, to stop postponing the hard work under the excuse of preparation. Preparation without execution is procrastination in disguise. Execution is what transforms pressure into progress. When you see 2026 as a deadline, every day gains weight. Mornings matter, evenings matter, small decisions matter. You stop thinking in terms of weeks and months and start thinking in terms of actions taken today. That mindset builds momentum. Momentum compounds faster than motivation ever will. The people who will dominate 2026 are not the most talented. They are the ones who stopped treating time like an unlimited resource and started treating it like the scarce asset it is. They didn't wait to feel ready. They didn't wait for confidence. They didn't wait for permission. They understood that readiness comes after movement, not before it. This is where transformation actually begins. Not with excitement, not with speeches, not with vision boards. It begins with urgency rooted in reality. The understanding that every day you delay is a vote for staying the same. The acceptance that no one is coming to save you from wasted time. The realization that if you don't take control of your life now, the year will take control for you. A deadline removes fantasy and replaces it with clarity. You either act or you don't. You either grow or you stagnate. You either respect time or you pay for disrespecting it. 2026 is not waiting for you to catch up. It is moving forward regardless. And the only question that matters is whether you are moving with it or watching it pass while telling yourself the same story you've told for years about how one day things will be different. If you walk into 2026 carrying the same habits that shaped your past, you are not starting a new chapter. You are repeating the same page with a different date on it. Habits are not small details in your life. They are the architecture of your future. Every outcome you admire or resent is the result of behaviors you repeat without thinking. And that's why real transformation feels threatening, because it requires you to kill parts of your routine that feel familiar, comfortable, and safe. Most people say they want change, but what they really want is progress without disruption. They want better results without changing their daily behavior. That fantasy is why nothing shifts. A new year does not negotiate with old habits. Old habits don't magically expire at midnight. They follow you unless you deliberately dismantle them. If your mornings are undisciplined, your year will be undisciplined. If your nights are wasted, your goals will be delayed. Habits do not care about motivation. They operate whether you believe in yourself or not. The hardest part of transformation is not starting new habits. It's letting go of the ones that no longer serve you. Habits create identity. They tell you who you are without words. When you change your habits, you challenge the version of yourself you've been comfortable being. That creates resistance. Your mind will argue. It will remind you how tired you are, how stressed you are, how much you deserve rest. But that resistance is proof you're touching something important. If you want 2026 to be different, your daily behavior must look different immediately, not someday. You cannot wait for January motivation, perfect timing, or emotional alignment. Habits are built through repetition under resistance. They are installed through action, not intention. Every time you repeat an old habit, you reinforce the life you say you want to escape. Every time you interrupt it, you weaken its hold on you. People underestimate how powerful small habits are because they don't feel dramatic. Skipping discipline today doesn't feel like failure. Wasting an hour doesn't feel like self-sabotage. But these moments compound. Habits are quiet. They shape your future without asking for attention. That's why most people wake up years later shocked by where they ended up. The destination was built invisibly, day by day, choice by choice, entering 2026 with new goals, but old habits is self-deception. Goals are direction, habits are movement. Direction without movement goes nowhere. You don't need to know exactly how everything will work out. You need to know what habits must die and which ones must be born. Discipline is simply choosing behaviors that align with the future you want instead of the comfort you crave. Your environment plays a massive role in this. If your surroundings reward distraction, your habits will reflect that. If your circle normalizes laziness, your standards will drop. Transformation requires friction. It requires you to redesign your days so bad habits become inconvenient and good habits become unavoidable. This is not about willpower. Willpower fades. Systems last. Habits also expose your priorities. You can tell yourself you want success, health, focus, or growth, but your habits tell the truth. They reveal what you value when no one is watching. And if you don't like what your habits say about you, that discomfort is the starting point of change, not a reason to quit. Most people fail because they try to add new habits on top of a broken foundation. They stack ambition on chaos. They pile goals onto disorganization. That doesn't work. You must remove before you add. Eliminate what wastes your time before trying to optimize your productivity. Cut distractions before chasing discipline. Simplify before you intensify. 2026 will not reward people who talk about change. It will reward people who behave differently. The version of you that exists right now was built by habit. The version of you that dominates the future will also be built by habit. There is no shortcut around this truth. Transformation is not a moment. It is a daily practice repeated until it becomes identity. The moment you change your habits, you change the direction of your life. Not all at once, not dramatically, but irreversibly. Because habits, once installed, work for you even when motivation disappears. They carry you forward on days you feel weak. They protect you from backsliding when emotions fluctuate. They become the invisible force that keeps you moving when excitement fades. You don't need a new year to start changing your habits. You need the courage to admit which ones are holding you back and the discipline to replace them without waiting for permission. The calendar does not transform you. Your actions do. And if your actions stay the same, your results will stay the same, regardless of how badly you want 2026 to be different. If there is one truth you must accept before anything in your life transforms, it is this: motivation will not save you. Motivation is loud, emotional, and temporary. It shows up when things feel exciting and disappears the moment resistance appears. Discipline is different. Discipline is quiet. Discipline does not negotiate. Discipline shows up regardless of how you feel, and that is why every real change you admire in other people was built on discipline. Not inspiration. Most people are waiting for a feeling that never lasts. They wait to feel confident before they act. They wait to feel ready before they commit. They wait to feel motivated before they begin. And while they are waiting, life keeps moving without them. Discipline understands something: motivation never will. Action creates emotion, not the other way around. You do not feel your way into discipline. You discipline your way into confidence, strength, and belief. Every transformation you want in 2026 has a boring, repetitive process attached to it. There is no dramatic shortcut. There is no secret trick. There is just consistent execution when nobody is watching and nothing feels exciting. That is why discipline is rare. It asks you to do the same thing long after the novelty wears off. It demands loyalty to the process, not loyalty to your mood. People misunderstand discipline because they associate it with punishment. They think discipline is harsh, restrictive, or joyless. In reality, discipline is freedom. It frees you from emotional chaos. It frees you from inconsistency. It frees you from the constant guilt of knowing what you should be doing and not doing it. Discipline removes internal conflict. When your actions align with your goals, your mind becomes calm, focused, and powerful. Without discipline, goals remain fantasies. You can visualize success all day, but without discipline, nothing moves. Discipline is the engine that turns intention into outcome. It doesn't care if you are tired. It doesn't care if you are bored. It doesn't care if you are afraid. It only cares that the work gets done. And over time, that reliability compounds into results that look impressive from the outside, but were built through unglamorous effort. The reason most people fail to transform is not because they lack knowledge. It is because they lack structure. Discipline creates structure. It decides in advance what you will do, when you will do it, and how you will respond when resistance appears. It removes decision fatigue. You no longer ask yourself whether you should train, work, study, or focus. The decision is already made. You execute because that is who you are. Discipline also reveals character. On easy days, everyone looks committed. On hard days, discipline separates those who change from those who repeat the same cycle. When motivation fades and excuses get loud, discipline is the only thing standing between you and regression. That is why discipline must be built before life tests you, not after. Because life will test you. Fatigue will come. Stress will come. Doubt will come. Discipline prepares you to survive all of it without collapsing. If you want 2026 to transform you, discipline must become non-negotiable. Not intense one week and absent the next. Not strong when people are watching and weak when you are alone. Real discipline is boring consistency. It is showing up even when progress feels invisible. It is trusting that repetition builds results even when you cannot see them, yet discipline compounds quietly. One disciplined day does not change your life. 10 disciplined days still may not feel impressive, but months of discipline reshape your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who does. That shift is powerful. Once your identity changes, your behavior follows automatically. You no longer rely on willpower because discipline has become your default setting. This is why discipline must come before passion. Passion fades. Discipline remains. Passion reacts to outcomes. Discipline creates them. When you discipline your body, your mind becomes stronger. When you discipline your time, your priorities become clearer. When you discipline your thoughts, your confidence increases. Discipline is not limited to action. It governs what you tolerate, what you ignore, and what you pursue. Most people want a dramatic transformation story. They want a single moment where everything changes. But real transformation is quiet. It happens when you do the right thing again and again without applause. It happens when you choose discipline on days no one will ever see. And that is why it lasts. If you build discipline, motivation becomes irrelevant. Feelings lose control. Excuses lose power. You stop hoping for change and start creating it through daily execution. Discipline becomes the engine that carries you forward when excitement disappears and resistance rises. And the moment discipline takes over your life, transformation stops being a goal and starts becoming inevitable. Most people underestimate how much control their environment has over their behavior, and that ignorance is costing them their future. You like to believe your success depends on motivation, intelligence, or willpower, but the truth is simpler and harsher. Your environment decides how you act long before your intentions ever get a vote. Where you live, who you spend time with, what you watch, what you listen to, what you tolerate every day. These things quietly shape your standards, your discipline, and ultimately your results. You can have big goals and strong intentions, but if your environment rewards distraction, comfort, and excuses, it will slowly drag you back to average. Not violently, not dramatically, quietly, one relaxed decision at a time. An environment doesn't argue with you. It doesn't confront you. It just nudges you consistently in a direction. And most people don't notice until years have passed and nothing has changed. Look around your life honestly. Your environment is a mirror of your priorities. If your space is chaotic, your focus will be chaotic. If your circle is undisciplined, your standards will drop. If your daily inputs are filled with noise, drama, and cheap dopamine, your mind will struggle to commit to anything meaningful. This isn't weakness, this is cause and effect. Humans adapt to what surrounds them. Transformation in 2026 will not happen if you keep placing yourself in environments that contradict the future you want. You cannot build a disciplined body in an undisciplined routine. You cannot build focus in a distracted space. You cannot build ambition while surrounding yourself with people who normalize mediocrity. Your environment is either pulling you forward or pulling you back. And neutrality does not exist. Most people sabotage themselves without realizing it. They say they want growth, then surround themselves with comfort. They say they want success, then consume content that weakens their attention span. They say they want discipline, then keep people close who laugh at effort and shame ambition. Over time, the environment wins. Not because you're incapable, but because you didn't design your surroundings to support who you want to become. High performers are ruthless about their environment, not because they're extreme, but because they understand leverage. They don't rely on willpower to make the right choice every day. They design their life so the right choice becomes the easiest one. They remove distractions instead of fighting them. They limit exposure to negativity instead of pretending it doesn't affect them. They choose their circle carefully because they know standards are contagious. Your environment trains your nervous system. If chaos is normal, peace feels boring. If distraction is constant, focus feels uncomfortable. If laziness is accepted, discipline feels extreme. That's why changing your environment feels so uncomfortable at first. You are rewiring what feels normal. You are teaching your mind and body a new baseline. That discomfort is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's proof you're breaking conditioning. People love to talk about mindset, but mindset follows environment more than anything else. You can think positively all day, but if your environment reinforces negative behavior, your mindset will eventually break. Environment is the foundation. Mindset is the structure built on top of it. If the foundation is weak, nothing you build will last. If you want 2026 to transform you, you must audit your environment with brutal honesty. What drains your time? What weakens your focus? Who lowers your standards? What habits are reinforced without effort? This is not about blaming others. It's about taking responsibility for what you allow to shape you daily. Changing your environment is an act of self-respect. It is saying that your future matters more than temporary comfort. It is choosing growth over familiarity. It is understanding that sometimes progress requires distance, silence, and isolation before it brings expansion and momentum. You may outgrow people, you may outgrow places, you may outgrow routines that once felt safe. That is not arrogance. That is evolution. An upgraded environment creates momentum without force. When your surroundings align with your goals, discipline feels lighter. Focus feels natural. Progress feels inevitable. You don't have to fight yourself every day because the environment is doing half the work for you. That is how real change becomes sustainable. Instead of exhausting, most people wait until they feel strong enough to change their environment. Winners change their environment to become strong. They don't wait to feel disciplined to remove distractions. They remove distractions to become disciplined. They don't wait to feel confident to distance themselves from negativity. They distance themselves so confidence can grow. Your environment is not just where you live. It is what you allow into your mind daily. The conversations you entertain, the content you consume, the standards you tolerate. Every one of these inputs is shaping who you are becoming, whether you like it or not. And if you do not consciously design your environment, it will default to comfort, distraction, and decay. 2026 will not ask how motivated you were. It will show you what your environment trained you to become. And the moment you take control of your surroundings, you take control of your trajectory, because when the environment supports growth, discipline stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like a natural expression of the life you are building every single day without waiting for permission or approval from anyone around you. Transformation has a cost, and that cost is pain. Not dramatic pain, not cinematic pain, but the quiet, persistent discomfort that shows up when you stop living the way you always have. Most people say they want a new life, but they are unwilling to feel the pain that comes with becoming a new person. They want the reward without the resistance, the outcome without the discomfort, the glow up without the grind, and that contradiction is why nothing changes. Pain is not punishment. Pain is information. It tells you that something old is being challenged, stretched, or replaced. When you start waking up earlier, your body resists. When you start training harder, your muscles burn. When you stop scrolling and start focusing, your mind rebels. When you distance yourself from people who drain you, loneliness creeps in. This pain is not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're exiting familiarity. Most people are addicted to comfort without realizing it. They confuse comfort with happiness. They confuse ease with peace. But comfort is a trap because it keeps you exactly where you are. Comfort asks nothing from you, and in return, it gives you nothing new. Pain, on the other hand, demands growth. It forces adaptation. It asks you to become stronger, sharper, more disciplined than you were yesterday. Every meaningful upgrade in your life requires pain in some form. Financial growth requires the pain of delayed gratification and relentless focus. Physical transformation requires the pain of training and consistency. Mental strength requires the pain of facing your own excuses and weaknesses. There is no version of transformation that bypasses discomfort. The only choice you have is whether you experience the pain of growth or the pain of regret. The pain of growth is temporary. It hurts while you're changing. The pain of regret is permanent. It stays with you when you lie awake at night wondering what could have been. It shows up when you see others living the life you avoided working for. It appears when time has passed and opportunity no longer knocks. Most people choose regret because it feels softer in the moment, but it is far more brutal in the long run. Pain also clarifies priorities. When things hurt, you find out what matters to you. When you're uncomfortable, you discover whether your goals are real or just words you like to say. Pain exposes commitment. Anyone can talk about transformation when it feels good. Very few people continue when it hurts, and nobody is watching. Becoming someone new means letting an old version of you die. That death is not painless. Old habits fight back. Old identities resist extinction. Your mind will try to pull you back into patterns that feel safe. That internal battle is painful, but it is necessary. You cannot become someone new without disappointing who you used to be. Pain also humbles you. It strips away ego and replaces it with discipline. It teaches patience. It teaches respect for the process. People who avoid pain stay entitled. They expect results without earning them. People who embrace pain understand that every step forward must be paid for with effort. Most people misinterpret pain as a warning to stop. High performers interpret pain as confirmation they are doing something meaningful. They do not chase pain for its own sake, but they do not run from it either. They understand that the presence of pain often means progress is happening beneath the surface, even if results are not visible yet. If you want 2026 to truly transform you, you must change your relationship with pain. Stop asking how to avoid it. Start asking what kind of pain leads to growth. Stop numbing discomfort with distractions. Start using it as fuel. The pain of discipline builds strength. The pain of focus builds clarity. The pain of sacrifice builds freedom. You do not rise to a new level by staying comfortable. You rise by surviving discomfort long enough to adapt. Every time you push through pain without quitting, you upgrade your identity. You prove to yourself that you can endure more than you thought. That proof builds confidence that no motivational speech ever could. Pain is the gatekeeper of transformation. It stands between who you are and who you want to become, demanding payment. You either pay it daily through effort and discipline, or you pay it later through regret and dissatisfaction. And the people who transform their lives are not the ones who feel less pain than everyone else, but the ones who understand that pain is not an obstacle to becoming someone new. It is the path that leads directly to it. If you do not choose who you are going to be, time will choose for you. And time is ruthless. It does not ask what you want. It does not wait for clarity. It assigns identities based on behavior. The version of you that walks into 2026 will not be defined by your intentions, your hopes, or your plans. It will be defined by the standards you enforced when no one was watching and the decisions you made when it would have been easier to delay. Most people drift into an identity without realizing it. They become busy but broke, motivated but inconsistent, smart but undisciplined, not because they chose those labels, but because they failed to choose anything at all. Indecision is still a decision. Avoidance still creates outcomes. And the year will happily stamp an identity on you. If you don't take control first, identity is not something you discover. It is something you declare and then defend daily through action. You don't wake up one morning suddenly disciplined. You decide you are disciplined and then act in alignment with that decision until it becomes true. You don't stumble into confidence. You choose standards that force you to earn confidence through execution. Identity is built through repetition, not reflection. Most people want to feel like someone before they act like them. That's backwards. Feelings follow behavior. When you wait to feel ready, you hand control to emotion. When you decide who you are first, behavior follows regardless of how you feel. This is the shift that separates people who change their lives from people who watch content about changing their lives. 2026 will amplify whatever identity you carry into it. If you enter the year as someone who negotiates with discipline, the year will test you until you fold. If you enter as someone who avoids discomfort, the year will expose every weakness you tried to hide. But if you enter with a clear identity, one built on standards and execution, the year will work for you instead of against you. Choosing an identity requires brutality with yourself. You must be willing to let go of the version of you that enjoys excuses. You must be willing to disappoint people who benefit from you staying the same. You must be willing to drop labels that make you feel special without making you effective. This is not comfortable work. It is confronting. But clarity is always uncomfortable before it is empowering. When you decide who you are, you simplify your life. Decisions become easier. You stop debating actions that don't align with your identity. A disciplined person doesn't ask whether they should train. A focused person doesn't ask whether they should waste time. A driven person doesn't ask whether they should quit. Identity removes friction because it eliminates choice. You act because that's who you are. This is why vague goals fail. Goals without identity collapse under pressure. Identity holds when motivation disappears. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. And if your identity is undefined, you will fall every time resistance appears. People are afraid to choose an identity because it creates accountability. Once you decide who you are, excuses stop working. You can no longer blame circumstances without betraying yourself. You can no longer hide behind potential. You must perform. That pressure scares people who are comfortable living in ambiguity, but that same pressure is what creates progress. Your identity should be built around behaviors, not outcomes. You are someone who shows up early. You are someone who finishes what they start. You are someone who does the work when it's boring. These are identities you can live daily. Outcomes follow automatically when behavior is consistent. If you do not decide who you are before the year begins, the year will decide for you through consequences. Missed opportunities, stagnation, regret. Those are identities too, just ones assigned instead of chosen. Life is always giving feedback. The only question is whether you respond with intention or continue drifting. The most powerful moment in transformation is not motivation. It is decision. A clean, uncompromising decision about who you are willing to become and what you are no longer willing to tolerate from yourself. That decision changes how you wake up. It changes how you spend your time. It changes what you say no to. It changes what you endure. 026 does not care about the version of you that almost tried. It will reward the version of you that committed early, acted daily, and refused to lower standards when things got hard. That version of you does not appear by accident. It is chosen deliberately, reinforced relentlessly, and protected aggressively from old habits and weak compromise. Decide who you are now, before circumstances decide for you, before time locks in another year of the same patterns, before opportunity moves past you again, because the moment you choose your identity and back it with action, the year stops being something that happens to you and starts becoming something you use to build the life you said you wanted but never fully claimed. This entire message comes down to one truth: you can no longer ignore. Your life will not change unless you do. Not someday, not when conditions improve, not when motivation magically appears. Change begins the moment you stop negotiating with weakness and start enforcing standards. Everything you want in 2026 already has a price, and the only reason it feels far away is because you haven't decided to pay it consistently. You've heard the patterns laid bare. Comfort keeps you trapped. Feelings lie to you. Pain is the entry fee. Identity is chosen, not discovered. Discipline is the bridge between intention and outcome. None of this is complicated, but it is demanding. And that is why most people will close this video inspired and then return to the same habits that keep their life small. This is the fork in the road. One path leads back to familiarity, excuses, and another year of almost. The other path leads forward into discomfort, clarity, and results that speak louder than words. Both paths require effort. One builds you. The other slowly destroys your respect for yourself. You don't need more information. You need a line in the sand. A moment where you stop asking how to feel better and start asking how to become better. A moment where you accept that no one is coming to save you, and that realization doesn't scare you anymore. It empowers you. 2026 will expose whatever you bring into it. Weak standards will collapse. Strong standards will compound. The world doesn't reward potential, it rewards execution. And execution belongs to people who act even when they don't feel like it, who stay consistent when results are invisible, who choose discipline when emotion begs for comfort. This speech was never meant to entertain you. It was meant to confront you, to strip away the lies you've been telling yourself and replace them with responsibility. Because the moment you take full responsibility, you gain full control. You can close this video and stay the same. Or you can decide that this is the moment everything shifts, that you stop living half committed, that you stop respecting comfort more than your future, that you stop asking for motivation and start demanding results. The year is coming, whether you're ready or not. The question is simple and unavoidable. When 2026 looks back at you, will it see someone who consumed motivation or someone who became it?